Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Alright, it's time to begin the review itself, but before we do, let's talk about some of the creative team behind this. The original idea for Amazon's attack came from Greg Rucka, a stupendously talented author of both spy fiction and comics. It was he who revamped the Greek gods into more modern equivalents, and he who had Wonder Woman write her book. The original idea was for it to be one of the miniseries that led up to Infinite Crisis, but the story was actually that the US military was trying to invade Themyscira. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, it was going to be some critique on the Iraq War or something, but trust me, there are much worse and much stupider comparisons to that coming up. Anyway, that plan was scrapped, and, as I mentioned in the prologue, Infinite Crisis resulted in the Amazons getting banished from this dimension for their own protection. When Amazon's attack itself was released, it was written by Will Pfeiffer. Now, Will Pfeiffer does have some good comics under his belt, including a spectacular run on Catwoman and the excellent Captain Atom Armageddon miniseries. So when Amazon's attack was getting hyped, there was some hope that this might actually be halfway decent. And that hope got stabbed right through the face as soon as the preview pages started getting out. What did people see? Well, let's dig into Amazon's attack number 1 and number 2 and find out. Now, since I'm reviewing from the hardcover collection of the book, there's really no point in trying to review the covers, but I've got a one-word review of them right here. Awesome. Yeah, despite all the crap around this series, the artwork itself is great, but this is just a classic example of good artwork not making a good comic. We open in Washington, D.C., more specifically the Lincoln Monument. A father is telling his son all about Lincoln, and the kid asks what happened to him. Lincoln? Well, one night he went to see a play and... And what? You're really going to tell your son about how an actor shot him through the head? Yeah, son, and his brains splattered right all over the front row. Wow, cool, Dad. Can you tell me about JFK's assassination next? Of course, son. However, they're interrupted by a bright flash of light in the courtyard, and all of a sudden there are legions and legions of Amazons in full armor all spread out along the Capitol. They've even got wooden catapults and one-eyed ogres along with them. No, the Lord of the Rings Reenactment Society meets in front of the Senate, not the Lincoln Memorial. So the father tells his son not to worry and that everything's going to be okay. And then he gets his head chopped off. Oh, and to make it better, the unnamed woman then kills the kid, too, with a bloody thwack sound effect, no less. You know, I don't know why, but I got a good feeling that this comic is going to be a fair and balanced portrayal of two nations at war. The two Amazons enter the Lincoln Memorial, and one asks the child murderer who Lincoln is. A man. Just another man. This city is full of them. Well, somebody's full of something, all right. We cut to the White House, where the president, who's obviously supposed to be a George Bush analog, don't ask me who it is, the DC Universe changes its president every 5 minutes, asks if they're in the midst of a terrorist attack. The Secret Service informs him that it looks like the Amazons. So naturally, the most heavily fortified and protected building in the world gets attacked by two women wielding bows and arrows. Well, that's just insane. You're telling me. And how the heck did that wall just explode? Are the walls of the White House made out of dynamite and gunpowder? The two women are armed with pointy sticks and bows and arrows. And the establishing shot of the White House showed that the president was on the second floor. Do all Amazons have explosive teleportation? So, two Secret Service agents wielding, guns are easily shot through the head by... Wait, where did the bows and arrows go? Now these two are carrying swords and spears. Screw it, let's just move on and get this over with. The Amazons declare that they want not Bush's head on a stake, but before they can act on their threat, the president is saved by black lightning. I got here as quickly as I could. I was at the Hall of Justice, just across the mall. Next to the cost cutters and the Kinkos. Frankly, this is more your line of work. You've dealt with this sort of thing before. I'm just the President of the United States in a world involving aliens, gods, and monsters, plus international crises. I have no experience with this. We cut to the Smithsonian Institution, Washington, D.C. Oh, really? I thought they meant the Smithsonian in Hoboken. For some reason, Queen Hippolyta has apparently decided to sit in a chair here and set up some bonfires. And yeah, Hippolyta's alive again through some ritual that occurred in the Wonder Woman issues leading up to Amazon's attack. Somehow this also restores the monarchy, even though it was Hippolyta herself who abolished it. Yeah, comic books, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, it's the fate of her daughter that's led Hippolyta to declare war on America. Nobody arrests my daughter for drunk driving and gets away with it. However, the architect of Hippolyta's rebirth is also here, a longtime Wonder Woman enemy. Circe, sorceress. Circe the sorceress sells circular seashells by the seashore for 60 cents. She exposits that Wonder Woman was trapped by the US government and they want her to reveal the secrets of Amazon technology, none of which we actually see in the comic. And so Circe is our Grima Wormtongue to Hippolyta's King Theoden, more or less. More Amazons report to Hippolyta that Wonder Woman isn't in the cell she was supposed to be in, and the US military is on its way. The military? Damn, where's Neutro when you need him?
The President's fate, the military's impending arrival, even the freedom of my daughter. None of it matters at this moment. What matters is that for the first time, the world of men is at our mercy, and we must make the most of it. Yes, the entire reason we started this whole war thing no longer matters, so allow me to make up a new reason that makes no logical sense. Just as their enslavement of my daughter mocks our hard-fought freedom, so this city and its architecture mock the buildings of our beloved Themyscira. Let us tear this city to pieces!
Seriously, are any of the Amazons really taking this woman seriously when she talks like that? When's the last time you followed anybody who stood outside a building and yelled at it? Oh my god! This rectangular building is flipping me the bird just by existing! And so Hippolyta leads the hordes of Amazons through the streets, Circe watching and of course smiling evilly. Okay, what the hell? She's clearly evil! She whispers in Hippolyta's ear like she's one of those devils on someone's shoulder. She has been your enemy for years! Why don't you just draw a twirly mustache on her and get it over with? A remaining soldier mentions Circe's own daughter, and she fries the unnamed Amazon for even mentioning her. By the way, this is supposed to be foreshadowing, but it ends up being completely inconsequential anyway.
This is the seat of their government. This is where they make their laws. Men's laws. Women don't have laws!
Hippolynuts has the Lincoln Memorial destroyed and a group of jets circles the Amazons, waiting for the authorization to fire. Intel wants to be sure there aren't any survivors down there. Human survivors, I mean. Oh, what biting commentary on our military. Take that, Dr. Strangelove! Good God, Colonel, isn't this all, a little out of our league? I mean, we've got jets and tanks and missiles and guns, and they've got swords and spears! We cut to the Department of Metahuman Affairs, where, strangely, its director, Sarge Steele, is talking to Batman. When did Batman become the Justice League's go-to guy for taking calls? Is he the receptionist? Corporate accounts payable, Batman speaking. Just a moment. Corporate accounts payable, Batman speaking. Just a moment. Sarge Steele wants to know when superheroes are going to start showing up to actually fight the Amazons, and Batman just tells him they're on their way and hangs up. Sarge Steele walks back to his office and opens up a hidden compartment, revealing that everything is going as planned. To another Sarge Steele who's bound and gagged! And so issue 1 ends with Wonder Woman for some reason showing up to confront her mother. Okay, when did she get there? Screw it, who cares? Okay, we turn the page and... Oh, you've gotta be kidding me! There's 2 large paragraphs of text explaining what happens between this issue and the next! But how could that be? This was just one issue following into another! Well, folks, this is as good a time as any to give you a little lesson in event comics. In an event comic, several ongoing series in the main comic universe will have tie-in issues to the event, exploring in greater detail a particular plot point. Or, as we see here, having important plot points for the event itself! Now, I love big crossover event comics, but it's a little frustrating when you invest money in a miniseries hoping to get a complete story and you get jacked by the publisher who says, "Oops, sorry, if you want to know why this happened, you have to pick up the comic you don't regularly pick up!" It's one of the most frustrating aspects of event comics. It gets worse when the stories are written by completely different writers who only peripherally know about what they're talking about when they're writing the plot point, so the events don't match up to what we see in the main comic. Okay, rant over. Here's what they felt wasn't important enough to include in the hardcover release of Amazon's Attack. Wonder Woman and Hippolyta have their reunion, and she quickly realizes that Hippolyta is far too nutty to be acting like herself and that she's under mind control. Instead of using that magic lasso of hers that frees people from mind control, she goes to confront Circe, who reveals her plans to nuke Themyscira for some reason. Hippolyta, overhearing this, then stabs Circe with a sword and she vanishes. But Hippolyta is still completely batty, so they go into battle. Meanwhile, it's revealed that Sarge Steele is being impersonated by the shapeshifter Everyman, a villain left over from the much better than this Series 52. The action spy Nemesis, who's known for his own mastery of disguises, then turns into Sarge Steele as well in the hopes of discrediting Everyman's... Oh, you know what, just screw it. I mean, seriously, who the hell enjoys having their comics narrated to? Wait. Okay, after that tedious exposition, we get on with issue 2. After a one-page recap done with Lex News, get it, it's like Fox News, but with Lex Luthor's company owning it, ha 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 ha. And we go back to our military jets. They get the okay to open fire on the Amazons, but then, holy crap, an arrow pierces through the cockpit glass and stabs a female pilot in the neck. An arrow made of wood and stone pierces through the glass of a fighter jet's cockpit. The pilot ejects and she manages to land on the ground where she's found by the Amazons. Instead of saying something like, "You fought with honor, sister," the Amazons just stab her through the heart. Oh good, because it's been a whole issue since we got to see someone brutally murdered. But then the cavalry arrives, with Black Canary and the Justice League arriving. By the way, at this point in the game, Black Canary is supposed to be leading the Justice League, but as we'll soon discover, that aspect of continuity is also completely thrown out. Even the heroes are completely baffled by the idea of an arrow taking down a jet, and they discuss what they need to do. They agree that rescue is their first priority, even though logically it makes more sense to have a few big guns attack and the rest work on rescue, thus stemming further violence, and they go off to do their thing. We have a completely pointless page of Green Lantern rescuing a woman who proclaims, "You're here, finally, thank God! Thank God the men have finally arrived!" Back with the two fake Sarge Steels, Nemesis stabs Everyman through the hand to show how his metal hand is fake. He takes charge while Everyman is taken to a cell. So the fake Sarge Steel plot point ended up being... Well, okay, we do learn that because of the impersonation, that's why military operations have been slow to make any difference on the Amazons. But even if they weren't, what do you expect? The Amazons have got, like, bows and arrows on their side! Something apparently attacked military bases outside of DC, in California no less, preventing more jets to come help. Batman apparently taking charge. Good, because of course Black Canary is a woman, and knowing this comic, as a woman, she must be completely stupid or insane. Batman also comments that they're not sure what side Wonder Woman is on. Yes, way to trust your longtime friend and ally who'd never slaughter an entire population of civilians, Batsy Pansy. Speaking of, for a book that's purportedly about Wonder Woman's mythos, we're 44 pages into this story and she's appeared in all of one. Oh well, I suppose it could just be about the extended DC universe as a whole and not Wonder Woman herself. Except for the fact that her name is right on the cover at the top! Our establishing shot is to a building called the National Museum of America, which I'm sure is supposed to be the Smithsonian, except it doesn't really match up to the pictures of the Smithsonian I found on Google. Anywho, Donna Troy, who you may remember from my Titans #1 review, shows up and promptly beats up two Amazon guards. I'll save Donna's long and complicated history for my Countdown review, but to sum it up, she's Wonder Woman's actual sister. So right now, Donna Troy has had more panel time than Wonder Woman has. Huh. Anyway, she confronts Hippolyta. Alright, here we go. This should be good. One of my favorite characters battling a monarch gone mad. Okay, blah blah, Donna won't follow her, she came to talk peace. Yeah, I'm sure Hibonkersla is really interested in peace at this point. And Hippolyta says that if Diana was there, they could all talk it... What? 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 Donna said she'll bring him right away? Yeah, see what I mean when I say all the women in this comic are stupid or crazy? Okay, Donna walks outside and is confronted by a silhouetted figure. You know who it is? Well, we never learn in the comic itself. Because this is where Donna stuff spins off into DC's weekly series Countdown, meaning that this entire sequence has also been completely pointless. You know, if the comic itself doesn't give a crap about its own story, why should I? Okay, now Hippolyta meets with Philippus and Artemis, two longtime supporting characters in Wonder Woman, and technically the rightful leaders of the Amazons after Hippolyta gave up the throne. Blah blah, the attack on the West Coast was wrong, blah blah blah. Okay, here we go. Philippus mentions that they've always fought with honor, and Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs responds, yes we have. And what has that gained us? Years of living in hiding, in seclusion, in fear of the world of man. She makes a good point. I mean, it's not like the Amazons had open contact and communication with the rest of the world for years and openly exchanged diplomatic emissaries or anything. Oh wait, yes they did! I hate this comic! I hate it! So yeah, these two are completely ineffectual, and the twisted clown that has replaced Hippolyta orders the battle to resume. This war makes increasingly less sense with each passing moment. Understatement of the century. Apparently communications are being jammed or some stupid crap like that, and it prevents Nemesis from getting the troops to withdraw. Since it's all a complicated trap, not that it matters much, we've seen the military is useless against such advanced weaponry as long swords and pointy sticks. And oh goody, Wonder Woman finally arrives. I was wondering when you'd finally show up.
I mean, it's your crossover event. You'd think you'd actually be a part of it.
Is this the part where you question my loyalty to America and claim you're just being pragmatic?
Yes.
Batman's a dick. And Wonder Woman's loyalty is to the world. Stupid comic.
Where do you stand?
Where I have always stood, on the side of justice. This is good enough for Batman, and then suddenly, for some reason, we cut away for one panel and then cut back, but Wonder Woman is gone, and suddenly Superman is standing there. Are we all sure every man is still under lock and key? Yeah, out of 54 pages, Wonder Woman appears in 2 so far. Remind me again why I did that whole prologue explaining Wonder Woman if she's not even really in the comic? Anywho, Superman suddenly hears something and he flies off at top speed. Nemesis contacts Batman and issue 2 ends with him informing him that Kansas, all of Kansas, is on fire.
Kansas is on fire, eh? Then they should fight fire with fire.
This comic sucks! Oh, but we're not done yet, folks. Yeah, there are still 4 more issues to go. There are still 4 more issues to go.